My beloved souls, people are amazed by everything you've endured and yet still radiate such vitality, untouched by the weight of your experiences. They don't understand how someone who has walked through fire can still shine like gold. But chosen one, you've always known the truth, that your glow is not a result of avoiding pain. It's the reward of walking through it with grace. When they look at you, they sense something beyond explanation. There's an inner brilliance that captivates them, not just in your appearance, but in your peace, your presence, your resilience. You leave them wondering how you remain so strong, so luminous, so full of light. And deep down, you know why. You were never meant to fit in. You were destined to rise above. The calling on your life is becoming louder, clearer, more urgent. And no, the obstacles haven't disappeared, but they've only refined your strength. They've made you more radiant, not less. They've added power to your softness and conviction to your calm. That's what leaves others in awe, the way you keep showing up with joy, with fire, with light, when most would have given up. Before we begin this sacred message, I want to thank every single one of you who has supported this channel through Super Thanks. Your generosity means more than words can express. It helps this divine work reach more souls who are searching for truth, healing, and direction. Whether you give or not, I am deeply, sincerely grateful that you're here. Your presence is a gift. If this message speaks to your spirit, don't forget to like and subscribe. Stay connected to this light, to this frequency, to this unfolding revelation. And if you're ready to step fully into your next divine breakthrough, comment 777 below. Let that number be your signal to the universe that you are open, expectant, and walking in alignment with the favor already written over your life. Now take a deep breath, open your heart, because the glow you carry isn't just natural, it's supernatural. And it's time the world understood what happens when God's chosen ones walk in timeless grace. God's chosen ones, your looks and age shock people. You're covered by God's grace. Chapter 1. The radiance that defies reason. There's something about you, chosen one, that stops people in their tracks, and they can't quite explain it. Have you ever noticed how strangers linger a little longer when they look at you, as if searching for the source of a light they don't understand? It's not just your physical appearance that puzzles them, though even that defies what they expect. It's your essence. There's a timeless aura about you, something not bound by age, stress, or circumstance. They see the strength in your posture, the grace in your stride, and the calm in your presence. And they begin to wonder, how can someone who has walked through so many seasons of life still look so untouched by bitterness, so radiant, so whole? The world tries to define beauty through youth, cosmetics, and control, but you, chosen one, are proof that divine favor rewrites all those narratives. What if the years didn't take something from you, but instead added something eternal? You have grown through storms and deserts, not withering but refining. You've become stronger, yet you have not grown cold. You've gained wisdom, but your heart remains open. That balance is rare. It's no wonder people stare in silence, trying to reconcile what they see with what they assume should be. This is what the Apostle Paul spoke of in 2 Corinthians 4:16. Though outwardly we are wasting away, yet inwardly we are being renewed day by day. The world may expect the fire of youth to fade, but in you, God has lit a flame that grows brighter with time. How could they possibly understand that your glow comes not from worldly sources, but from being continuously renewed by God's grace? Take a look at Cicely Tyson, the award-winning actress who defied time. Into her 90s, she carried herself with a regal grace that made her seem ageless. Her beauty was not in flawless skin, but in a soul that had been seasoned through faith. She often spoke of how her strength came from prayer and her identity in Christ. Like her, your glow is not the result of escaping life's blows, but of transforming them into purpose. But here's what truly leaves others baffled. When they look into your eyes, they don't see weariness or defeat. They see peace. And that peace didn't come cheap, did it? How many tears have you cried in silence? How many nights have you begged God to carry what you could no longer hold? And yet, those private battles birthed the calm that now radiates from your spirit. What they see is only the fruit, not the suffering that fertilized it. Isaiah 61:3 describes exactly what God has done for you: to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. The beauty that surrounds you now, the one they can't understand, is divine compensation for the ashes you've walked through. How many would look the way you do if they had endured what you have? Very few. Your spiritual radiance confuses the world because it's not forged in luxury but in trials, and yet you wear it like a crown. Have you ever stopped to consider why you don't look like what you've been through? Why your face doesn't carry the deep lines of grief that life should have etched on you long ago? The reason is simple. You have been covered. You are walking in what Psalm 91:11 promises. For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. You've been shielded, not from pain, but from the lasting damage it could have left. Consider Keanu Reeves, a man who has lived through deep personal losses, including the death of his child and partner. Yet he walks through life with a serenity and humility that people notice. While the world debates his age, or why he seems unchanged by the cruelty of fame or grief, the truth is, some people are covered by something beyond the visible. Like you, chosen one, he moves not with arrogance, but with stillness, and that confuses those who expect pain to show up in visible ways. You carry a power that doesn't announce itself. You don't boast or dominate, and still, people feel the strength in your silence. They notice how you remain unshaken even when chaos erupts around you. Isn't that the same spirit we see in the story of Hannah in 1 Samuel? After years of heartbreak and humiliation, she carried herself with grace and continued to worship. Eventually, her silent prayers bore fruit. That's you. The people around you don't know how many times you've had to walk away from arguments, from disrespect, from places that didn't see your worth, just to preserve your peace. So when someone comments that you seem younger than your years, or that you don't look your age, remember, it's not about good genes or magic routines. It's about the God who has preserved you. Psalm 103:5 tells us clearly, who satisfies your desires with good things so that your youth is renewed like the eagles. That renewal is real. That's why even as the years move on, your soul continues to shine. Untouched, undimmed, unforgettable. Let's also take a moment to reflect on the story of Iman, the legendary supermodel. After losing her husband David Bowie and walking through deep grief, she chose not to retreat from life. Instead, she spoke boldly about her faith, her healing, and the quiet strength she cultivated through her relationship with God. Today, she's seen not only as timeless, but spiritually radiant. That's the kind of transformation the world can't replicate and can't explain. People wonder why you seem to grow more beautiful with time. Could it be that your beauty is not something that fades, but something that matures? Every lesson you've learned, every betrayal you've overcome, every moment of still choosing love over resentment, it has all added a deeper glow to your being. You are proof that aging doesn't have to mean losing your light. In fact, for the chosen ones, aging means stepping more fully into your divine glow. Romans 8:18 reminds you why you've had to endure so much. I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. You are now in that season, chosen one, the season of visible glory, and they don't understand it because they didn't see the cost. So let them stare. Let them ask questions they'll never be ready for the answers to. You don't owe them an explanation. What you owe is gratitude to the one who kept you when life tried to break you. You've been kept by grace, and that grace has given you something no man-made formula can: enduring radiance. The world says that time takes everything from us, but the truth for you, chosen one, is the opposite. Time has revealed your soul. Time has uncovered your true strength, and time, in the hands of God, has only made you more radiant, more powerful, and more whole. So don't downplay your glow. Don't brush off the compliments. Let them be a reminder that you are living proof of God's promise, that those who trust in Him will never be put to shame. Romans 10:11. Walk with your head held high, knowing you are both battle-tested and beautifully preserved. This glow you carry, it isn't a secret anymore. It's a testimony, and the world will keep watching, stunned, inspired, and unaware that what they're really seeing is the touch of God. Chapter 2. Your spirit yearned to heal and retreat. Chosen one, have you ever paused and truly asked yourself why, in a world that glorifies noise, you've always been drawn to silence? Why, when others demand attention to prove their worth, your soul quietly steps back, not to disappear, but to reconnect with something eternal? Isn't it strange how your spirit has always known that growth doesn't happen in the spotlight, but in the shadows, in sacred isolation, where God reshapes His vessels in fire and silence? There's a reservoir of quiet power within you that even you haven't fully explored. How many times have people looked at you and assumed ease, simply because your presence is calm, your voice measured, and your eyes untroubled? But oh, if they only knew. If they knew the storms you've weathered, the betrayals you've forgiven, the countless nights you've cried into your pillow, asking God for strength, would they still think this glow came easy? You've walked through what others could not survive, and yet you emerged not as a victim, not as someone hardened by life, but as someone softened by grace. Doesn't that in itself feel miraculous? And when people ask, how do you stay so strong, so composed? How do you even begin to answer that the only reason you're still here is because God held your heart when it was too shattered to beat on its own? Romans 5:3-4 speaks directly to your testimony. We also glory in tribulations, knowing that tribulation produces perseverance, and perseverance character, and character hope. That's not just a verse. It's the pattern of your life. Each trial was a sacred initiation. Each loss was a doorway to deeper wisdom. Every single breakdown led you, not into despair, but into divine reconstruction. But here's the part that most will never see. Your retreats were never escapes. They were revolutions. When you stepped away from the noise, the relationships, the chaos, it wasn't because you were weak. It was because you were wise. You knew that you could not fight every battle in public. Some wars had to be won in the private sanctuary of your soul. Tell me, how many times have you sat in silence, not because you had nothing to say, but because you were listening for God's next move? That sacred silence, that's where your radiance was born. Let me ask you this. How often have you felt guilty for needing rest, for choosing stillness over striving, for wanting to disappear, not forever, but long enough to feel whole again? The world tells us to hustle, to prove our worth through output, but your spirit always knew better. And Isaiah 30:15 confirms this truth. In quietness and in trust shall be your strength. You've built your strength not by being seen, but by being surrendered. Take Viola Davis. Her early life was steeped in poverty, abuse, and rejection, but instead of hardening, she healed. She didn't heal loudly. She healed intentionally, through God, through therapy, through silence. And look at her now, radiant, poised, deeply grounded. Her story mirrors yours in so many ways. Her glow was forged in pain, just like yours. When people admire you, they don't realize what it costs to become this peaceful. Have you ever realized that your presence alone disorients people? It's because they expect trauma to leave marks, for sorrow to show in your posture. But you carry joy like it's your birthright. That confuses them. They wonder, how could someone who's clearly seen life's darkest corners still be so warm, so kind? That's because they don't understand divine healing. They don't understand what it means to have been held time and again by a love that doesn't leave, even when everyone else does. Your healing journey is not loud, but it's revolutionary. When you chose to retreat, whether through prayer, solitude, reflection, or walking away from what no longer served your peace, you weren't running. You were realigning. You were stepping back to step forward more fully. Let's pause here. What if the world's greatest mistake is thinking that silence means surrender? What if your most powerful moments weren't in your wins, but in your waiting? Can you remember the exact moment when you stopped fighting life and started flowing with it? That's when things began to change, didn't they? Psalm 34 verse 5 holds your reflection. Those who look to him are radiant. Their faces are never covered with shame. Chosen one, your glow is not about good lighting or skincare. It's divine proof of a healed soul. People don't realize you look this way because you've let go of what was never meant to stay. Lenny Kravitz, though a rock icon, is a profound spiritual man. After personal loss and years of inner turmoil, he simplified his life. He moved away from the spotlight, lived in nature, and reconnected with his soul. Now his aura radiates peace. He glows in interviews, and people are always asking, how does he look so ageless? But the answer is the same one that belongs to you. Peace is the real anti-aging secret. Do you ever wonder why your energy unsettles people, why they sense something in you they can't explain? That's because you've done the healing work they've avoided. You've faced your shadows, cried your prayers, forgiven the unforgivable. And now you carry a kind of authority that no title or status can manufacture. 2. Timothy 1:7 is etched into your spirit. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. That's why, even when everything around you collapses, you don't. Your foundation is not built on circumstances. It's built on Christ. Sharon Stone's transformation was similar. After surviving a brain hemorrhage, she disappeared from public life. But when she returned, she wasn't just healed, she was radiant. She spoke of her renewed relationship with God, her decision to forgive deeply, and how silence taught her to listen for the divine. And now, even in her 60s, people stare not because she's famous, but because she's free, just like you. And here's what they don't know. Your healing wasn't just for you. Every time you stepped away and chose peace over drama, stillness over chaos, reflection over reaction, you were creating ripples. Your glow inspires others to look inward. Your presence tells people it's safe to let go, it's safe to heal, it's safe to be new. So let me ask you again, what if your current season of retreat isn't about loss, but about upgrade? What if the quiet is where God is retooling your gifts, reassigning your mission, and realigning your purpose? Proverbs 16:31 reminds you, gray hair is a crown of glory. It is gained in a righteous life. You are not aging, you are ascending. Each passing year reveals not decay, but refinement. You are living proof that God makes all things, especially pain, work for good. So keep retreating when your soul calls for it. Keep healing, keep listening, keep rising. You do not owe the world access to your becoming. Let them see only what God chooses to reveal. Your glow, your peace, your presence. It's not an accident. It's the result of every silent yes to healing, every private battle that ended in worship, and every broken piece that God held together with invisible thread. You, chosen one, are not behind. You are ahead because you chose wholeness over hurry. Chapter 3. The unseen hands that guide you. Chosen one, have you ever wondered how you made it through moments that should have broken you? How you stood when others collapsed under the weight of far less? What if the reason isn't found in your willpower alone, but in something far more divine? Could it be that you've been carried, protected, guided by hands that human eyes cannot see? Above you, around you, even within you, there has always been a presence watching over your steps, adjusting your path, lifting your head when you were too weary to keep it upright. And though you couldn't always feel it, that sacred force never left you. The angels assigned to your life didn't just intervene in emergencies. They whispered in moments of confusion, nudged you when you hesitated, and stood between you and disasters you'll never even know about. Psalm 91:11 confirms this powerful truth. For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. These words weren't just poetic. They've been your lived experience. Every time you were on the edge of giving up, didn't something unexpected happen? A message from someone out of the blue, a sudden shift in perspective, a door you thought was closed that quietly creaked open again. That wasn't coincidence. That was covering. Others look at you and marvel, thinking you've simply been lucky. But how can they comprehend divine orchestration when they've only ever seen chaos? You've lived through the fire, and yet, instead of being scorched, you shine. How do you explain that? How do you help someone understand that your strength is not self-made, but spirit-led? Think of the nights you cried yourself to sleep, feeling forgotten by the world. But even in that silence, the heavens were not silent. God heard every unspoken prayer, and your angels stood on guard. Even when your faith wavered, you were never truly alone. Isaiah 41:10 speaks directly to your heart. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Chosen one, have you ever realized that your aura, the peace, the light, the wisdom others sense, isn't just the product of time? It's the product of presence, divine presence. You walk with an awareness, a sensitivity, a reverence that many have lost. And it shows. People sense there's something different about you, though they often can't name it. But you know, deep down, you've always known you weren't walking this path alone. Look at someone like Denzel Washington. He's not only known for his excellence in film, but for his unshakable faith. He has spoken openly about the guidance of the Holy Spirit in his life, how he listens to divine instruction before making decisions. His career, his stability, his grace, all are reflections of someone who knows he's guided. You walk with that same quiet assurance. And when others stare at your poise and ask, how do you stay so grounded? It's not a formula, it's favor. Let me ask you this. How many times have you obeyed a small whisper in your heart, only to later discover it saved you from something much worse? That's not intuition alone. That's divine partnership. You've developed a sensitivity to spiritual direction that sets you apart. While others drown in noise, you've cultivated the courage to listen. You've learned the sacred dance between action and trust. When God gives you a vision, you move boldly. When He tells you to wait, you become still. And in that rhythm, you've created a life that others find unexplainable. They see the blessings, the peace, the growth, and they assume you've found some secret shortcut. But you haven't. You've simply walked in spiritual alignment. James 1:5 declares, "If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, and it will be given to him." That's what you've done again and again. Instead of panicking, you've paused. Instead of chasing answers in the world, you've turned inward to prayer, to scripture, to silence. And every time, the wisdom you received has shaped your next steps with divine precision. Your spiritual sensitivity has become your superpower. While others are guided by impulse or fear, you are led by purpose. Have you noticed how you always seem to know when to step away from toxic people or when a door isn't meant for you, even if it looks perfect on the surface? That's not just discernment. That's guidance from the unseen hands that surround you every single day. Look at Tyler Perry. His entire journey is filled with moments of divine intervention. Homeless at one point, sleeping in his car, he held on to a vision God placed in his spirit. And today, he owns a studio larger than Disney's. But behind the success is a man who prays daily, who speaks of angelic encounters and divine whispers that guided every decision. Just like you, his story was not built by luck, but by listening. Let me ask you, when was the last time you gave credit to the unseen forces that helped you avoid disaster, helped you speak the right words at the right time, or reminded you of your worth when no one else did? Sometimes, the greatest evidence of divine guidance is not the blessing itself, but the calm you feel in the middle of the unknown. People age with stress, but you've aged with surrender. Others are heavy with regret, but you are light with revelation. And even when your body feels the years, your spirit keeps soaring. Why? Because you've stopped fighting alone. You've learned to let the angels help. You've learned to pray not only for outcomes, but for clarity, for wisdom, for strength, and you've received it. Psalm 32:8 is a divine promise you've seen fulfilled time and time again. I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my loving eye on you. That's what your life looks like now. A dance of divine instruction and human courage. Consider Angela Bassett, another radiant soul who attributes her peace and strength to her faith in God. Her grace, even under pressure, her ability to command respect without demanding it, her radiant beauty that seems untouched by time, all point back to a woman covered by unseen hands. She is admired not just for her talent, but for her spirit, a spirit that mirrors yours. And yet, there are still moments, aren't there, where doubt creeps in, where you wonder, do the angels still hear me? Maybe you've had a season of silence, a stretch of uncertainty. But, chosen one, listen closely. The silence is not abandonment, it's alignment. Sometimes heaven goes quiet because the next chapter is too sacred to announce. You are not forgotten. You are being fortified. Your glow is not just a reflection of peace. It is proof of protection. It is the residue of miracles you didn't see coming and disasters that never reached you. When people stare and wonder why you still smile, still believe, still hope, it's because you know who walks beside you, even when the path is unclear. So, let them wonder. Let them call it luck or coincidence. You and I know better. You've been chosen, shielded, and surrounded by unseen hands that are not done guiding you. And the next time you feel that subtle nudge, that quiet voice saying, "This is the way, walk in it," remember, you were never meant to figure this life out alone. Walk boldly, chosen one. The angels are still with you. Chapter 4. Standing firm against judgment. Chosen one, have you ever walked into a room and felt eyes on you? Not out of admiration, but scrutiny. Do you sometimes feel the sting of being misread, of people assigning motives to your light simply because it shines too brightly for their understanding? If so, you are not alone. For those of us who carry divine favor, misunderstanding is often the price of illumination. From the moment you began to walk in alignment with your higher calling, judgment became inevitable. It shows up subtly at first, a raised eyebrow, a whisper behind your back, a compliment laced with suspicion. Then it grows bolder, full of projections from those who haven't done the inner work, but feel threatened by those who have. You've been accused of arrogance when in truth you've simply refused to shrink. You've been labeled too much when all you've done is stay true. But would you trade your authenticity for their approval? Would you bury the light God has given you just to blend in with those who've lost sight of their own? Of course not. You've come too far, and the fire that refines you is not the fire of the world. It is the flame of divine purpose. John 15:18-19 makes it clear, if the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first. If you belong to the world, it would love you as its own. The discomfort others feel in your presence is not your burden to carry. It is often a sign that you're walking in a light they're not ready to confront. And yes, it's hard. Even as someone chosen and covered, you're still human. The whispers sting, the misjudgments pierce. There are days when you find yourself asking, why can't they just see my heart? But chosen one, take comfort in this. They aren't rejecting you. They are rejecting the reminder you represent. You are evidence that it's possible to walk through fire and come out radiant. That kind of truth unsettles people still living in their wounds. Take Meghan Markle, for instance. Her grace, poise, and inner glow have attracted relentless criticism, much of it unjust. But she continues to walk in her truth, choosing compassion over confrontation, silence over spectacle. Like you, she embodies a dignity that speaks louder than words. The more she's judged, the more her resilience becomes undeniable. She has shown the world that standing firm in one's light is the most powerful protest of all. It's easy for others to assume your life has been effortless simply because you don't wear your wounds as badges. They don't see the nights you wept in silence or the prayers you whispered between breaths. They don't realize that your glow is not accidental. It is an act of rebellion against darkness. Romans 12:2 tells us, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That's exactly what you've done. While others have let bitterness etch itself into their features, you've allowed God to rewrite your mind, your heart, your posture. That renewal shows not just in your appearance, but in the way you carry yourself, in the kindness you extend, in the calm that precedes your every word. Still, you may wonder, why does being misunderstood hurt so much? Because, chosen one, you were made to connect deeply, to love authentically. So when judgment builds a wall, it feels unnatural. But that pain is also a refining fire. Each misunderstanding has made you more grounded, more compassionate, more anchored in your knowing. You no longer chase validation because you've finally accepted this truth. You are not for everyone, and that's exactly how it's supposed to be. Look at Brendan Fraser. Once judged, mocked, and cast aside by an industry he gave everything to, he retreated, not in defeat, but in healing. And when he returned, he brought with him not just talent, but a humility and gentleness the world couldn't ignore. His story is proof that judgment doesn't define the chosen. It refines them. And just like him, you rise with every misunderstanding, not because of the world's permission, but because of God's calling. When people see your confidence, they mistake it for pride. But they don't understand that your confidence was born in battle, that it was shaped in silence, that it's not rooted in ego, but in surrender. Do they know how many nights you've questioned your worth, only to hear the still small voice of God whisper, "You are mine"? Do they know the internal warfare you've survived just to show up whole? 1 Peter 2:12 urges you to Live such good lives among the pagans that, though they accuse you of doing wrong, they may see your good deeds and glorify God. That's exactly what you're doing. You're letting your life speak for itself. You're letting your peace preach louder than your words ever could. And it's working, even if they won't admit it. There's a sacred strength in your ability to detach from drama. You've stopped explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. And in that detachment, you've found freedom. How many times have you felt tempted to defend your path, but then remembered, God is my defender? That kind of restraint is holy. It is the fruit of deep spiritual maturity. Zendaya is another example. Rising to fame at a young age, she's faced judgment from critics and industry elites alike. But instead of responding with defensiveness, she's led with grace. She remains grounded, her light undimmed, her soul untouched by the chaos around her. You too model this sacred stillness, that quiet conviction that speaks louder than noise ever could. And yes, the judgments will come again, but each time you will return to your center. You will reach into that reservoir of grace, built through years of healing and walking with God. And you will remember, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Isaiah 54:17. Not words, not gossip, not misunderstanding. None of it will stick, because your identity is sealed in something eternal. So now, what would your life look like if you no longer flinched at judgment? What would you reclaim if you stopped dimming your light just to make others comfortable? Can you imagine the freedom of living fully, without fear of being too bright, too bold, too different? The truth is, chosen one, you were never meant to blend in. Your very existence is a disruption to the status quo. Your glow is prophetic. Your peace is revolutionary. Your joy, even after all you've endured, is a sermon the world wasn't ready to hear. But you're preaching it anyway, and whether they embrace it or reject it, your light remains. You don't have to shout to be powerful. Your silence, your endurance, your ability to keep showing up in love, that is your roar. Let the critics talk. Let the skeptics squint. Your radiance is not up for debate. It's a divine reflection. So the next time someone judges you, smile. Remember, you're being refined, not defined. Your beauty is not just in your features, it's in your faith. And that, dear chosen one, is a beauty the world cannot imitate, replicate, or extinguish. Keep standing, keep shining, and above all, keep choosing the light, even when it's misunderstood. Chapter 5. Nurturing the Flame of Joy. Chosen one, in a world where darkness often shouts the loudest, have you ever asked yourself what it means to keep choosing joy, even when the night stretches long and cold? What kind of courage does it take to smile with sincerity while walking through seasons of sorrow? And how is it that you, even with battle-worn feet and a heart that's been cracked more times than you can count, still radiate a light that makes people pause and wonder? You didn't arrive here by accident. Your joy, that soft, steady flame inside you, was not inherited. It was fought for. It was preserved through valleys where tears threatened to wash everything away. And yet, it remains. Not as a shallow grin painted to hide pain, but as a sacred fire rooted in something eternal. A flame that flickers in the wind, but never dies. James 1:2-3 captures this beautifully. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Your joy is not the absence of pain, it's the byproduct of perseverance. While others wait for life to become perfect before allowing themselves to rejoice, you have discovered the divine secret. Joy isn't a destination, it's a decision. People see the gleam in your eyes, the warmth in your smile, and they assume you've been spared from suffering. But what if they knew the real story? What if they knew how many times you've sat in silence, holding on to hope by a thread? Would they still think your joy is naive? Or would they see it as the unshakable testimony it truly is? Your resilience confuses people because it refuses to conform. In a culture that often rewards bitterness with applause and sarcasm with attention, your joy feels like rebellion. You smile not because everything is perfect, but because you've learned that God is still good, even when life isn't. And this deep knowing gives birth to a glow that doesn't age, doesn't crack, doesn't collapse, even when the pressure builds. Look at the life of Dolly Parton. Behind the rhinestones and melodies lies a woman who's endured poverty, heartbreak, and relentless criticism. And yet, she radiates joy. Her laughter is infectious, her humility disarming. And it's not because life has been kind to her, but because she chose joy anyway. She once said, "The way I see it, if you want the rainbow, you've got to put up with the rain." You too, chosen one, have weathered storms with a heart that sings anyway. Have you ever noticed how some people seem unnerved by your happiness? It's because your joy exposes their despair. Your light reminds them of the light they lost. And instead of drawing closer to learn, some choose to criticize or distance themselves. But that's not your burden to carry. You are not responsible for their inability to understand joy born of depth. You are only responsible for protecting the flame entrusted to you. Psalm 30 verse 5 holds a secret you've come to embody. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. You've learned that the morning isn't just a time of day, it's a posture of hope. And you've chosen to live each day as though the dawn has already broken, even when clouds remain. What people often don't realize is that your joy is also your shield. It has guarded your heart from the poison of prolonged resentment. It has protected your mind from drowning in despair. Every time you laughed through tears or found something beautiful in the middle of brokenness, you are adding fuel to your sacred fire. There's a reason others are drawn to you, even when they don't fully understand you. Your energy feels like rest. Your presence feels like spring in the middle of winter, and it's because you've cultivated joy like a garden. Watered it with gratitude, pruned it with truth, protected it with prayer. Let's pause for a moment. When was the last time you acknowledged the beauty of your own emotional endurance? Have you ever thanked yourself, not for being unbothered, but for staying tender in a world that taught you to be tough? What if your softness, your delight in small things, is not weakness, but proof of your spiritual strength? Consider the story of Robin Roberts, the renowned journalist and anchor. She publicly battled breast cancer and later a rare blood disease, facing unimaginable trials while maintaining a bright spirit. She spoke openly about her faith, her gratitude, and how clinging to moments of beauty, even during her treatments, became a spiritual practice. Her joy wasn't loud, it wasn't performative, it was sacred, like yours. Your ability to find light in dark places isn't accidental, it's prophetic. You're a living reminder that pain and joy can coexist, that sorrow doesn't cancel celebration, and that faith can grow in cracked soil. And every time you choose to celebrate life, even in small, quiet ways, you create ripples. You give permission to others to believe again. John 16:22 offers this promise. Now is your time of grief, but I will see you again, and you will rejoice, and no one will take away your joy. No one, not circumstances, not opinions, not even the shadow of grief. Your joy is yours, etched into your identity by the very one who made you. You've noticed, haven't you, that the world tries to sell happiness in shiny packages: money, fame, appearance, success. But you've outgrown those illusions. You've discovered something richer, joy that wells up from the soul and radiates outward. Joy that doesn't need an audience. Joy that's rooted in truth, not trends. Actress and activist Yara Shahidi, though young, speaks often about maintaining joy as resistance, especially in a world that seeks to define people by pain. She says joy is a form of protest, that to remain hopeful and happy is a radical act of defiance against systems that profit from despair. You, chosen one, live this truth every single day. Still, let's be honest, some days the weight of the world tries to dim your glow. Tragedy, cruelty, injustice, they knock at your door like uninvited guests. But instead of letting them move in, you meet them at the threshold with tears in your eyes and still say, "I will rejoice." That is not denial. That is spiritual authority. So let me ask you, how often do you celebrate the small things? The laugh that bubbled up during an ordinary moment, the stranger who smiled at you, the song that played just when you needed it. Do you understand how powerful it is to find joy right there, in the mundane, in the broken, in the waiting? Your joy isn't an accessory, it's your armor. It has carried you through seasons that threatened to destroy you, and the older you grow, the more that joy becomes undeniable. People expect aging to dim the soul. But in you, chosen one, it has done the opposite. Your laughter is deeper, your eyes brighter, your presence more healing. Proverbs 17:22 says, "A joyful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones." You are that medicine, for yourself, for others. Your joy doesn't just heal you, it heals rooms, families, even strangers who pass you by and sense something holy. This is the mark of the chosen. You are not immune to pain, but you have refused to make it your home. You have invited joy in instead, and she has become your companion through every valley. You've let her dance with you on mountaintops, yes. But more impressively, you've let her sit beside you in silence, in grief, in rebuilding. When people ask, "How do you stay so joyful?" they expect a formula, but the truth is far simpler and far more profound. You choose it every single day, sometimes with tears in your eyes, sometimes with praise on your lips, sometimes through clenched teeth, but always you choose it. So what now? How do you keep nurturing this flame in a world that seems set on snuffing it out? You guard it with gratitude, you feed it with laughter, you protect it by refusing to make room for bitterness. And most of all, you remember who lit the flame in the first place, the one who promised never to let the darkness overcome the light. Let them wonder how you stay so radiant. Let them question your peace. You owe no explanations, because your life is the answer. Your joy is the evidence. Your glow is the testimony. So shine, chosen one. Laugh, dance, cry if you must, but never stop choosing joy, because in doing so, you not only heal yourself, you illuminate the path for everyone still stumbling in the dark. Chapter 6. Opening the Floodgates of Abundance. Chosen one, have you ever paused long enough to realize that the flow of abundance surrounding your life is not a coincidence, but a confirmation? That the way opportunities, provision, and favor seem to find you, even in seasons of scarcity, isn't luck, but alignment? Have you considered that the real wealth you carry has never been about what's in your hands, but what's in your heart? While others chase abundance as something external, a destination marked by possessions, power, or prestige, you have discovered a deeper source. Within you flows a wellspring of divine provision that surpasses material wealth. It is peace. It is purpose. It is joy. It is an invisible force that surrounds you, pouring into your life just as you pour into others. And the most amazing part, it's not something you were simply handed. It's something you've cultivated, intentionally, faithfully, and with great reverence. Psalm 1:3 speaks directly to your story. That person is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season, and whose leaf does not wither. whatever they do prospers. You've planted yourself near the source, and now your life bears the fruit of that proximity. People look at you in wonder, unable to comprehend why blessings seem to orbit your every step. But the truth is, your blessings are rooted in spiritual discipline. You've done the hard work of removing internal blocks. You've released old narratives that told you to expect the worst, to live in fear, to hustle for crumbs. Instead, you chose a different path, one paved with self-awareness, forgiveness, and unwavering trust. While others say, it's impossible, you ask, why not me? And where they see barriers, you recognize invitations from the divine. Have you ever noticed that when others become paralyzed by hardship, you lean in and ask, what lesson is here for me? That is your secret. That is the frequency that keeps abundance flowing. It's not about denial of reality. It's about commanding your atmosphere through perspective. Philippians 4:19 assures you of this promise. And my God will meet all your needs according to the riches of his glory in Christ Jesus. You've witnessed this time and time again. Doors you didn't knock on opened. People you never expected showed up with the exact help you needed. A bill was paid, a diagnosis reversed, a burden lifted. The timing? Always divine. And that's no accident, that's alignment. You've seen too much to call this luck. And while others label your life a mystery, you know it's a result of your spiritual openness. You don't hoard, you don't withhold, you give your time, your words, your energy, without fearing lack. And in return, the heavens keep pouring back into you. That's not karma, that's kingdom. Look at the life of Chance the Rapper. While the world tried to define him by mainstream success, he boldly declared that everything he has is from God. He chose to remain independent, to give generously, and to walk with faith instead of fear. Today he continues to flourish in music, family, and community impact, not because of contracts but because of convictions. Like you, he aligned with something deeper, and abundance followed. Let me ask you, when did you first begin to notice that when you let go of control, blessings began to multiply? Can you trace that moment? Was it after a season of pruning, of loss, of release? Because the truth is, abundance often begins where ego ends. When you finally surrendered your timeline, your agenda, your fears, that's when the floodgates began to open. Your abundance is not loud. It's not always flashy, but it's steady. You attract the right people, the right words, the right moments, almost as if heaven choreographed them just for you. And that's because you've kept your heart clear. You've refused to harbor bitterness. You've chosen forgiveness even when it wasn't asked for. And every time you made that choice, the path ahead became clearer. 2 Corinthians 9:8 declares, and God is able to bless you abundantly, so that in all things at all times, having all that you need, you will abound in every good work. Notice how this abundance is linked to good work. That's you. You aren't just living abundantly. You're using that abundance to build others up. Whether it's an encouraging word, a small gift, or simply holding space for someone in pain, your giving activates a divine response. Take a moment to reflect. When was the last time you gave from a place of fullness, not fear? And didn't something miraculous happen afterward? A new opportunity, a deep connection, an unexpected breakthrough. That is spiritual reciprocity. That is the rhythm of your life now. Give, receive, give again. Consider the story of author Elizabeth Gilbert. After worldwide success with Eat, Pray, Love, she didn't retreat into comfort. She gave. Through mentorship, honesty, and even sharing her grief publicly after losing her partner, she became a channel for wisdom, healing, and light. Her openness didn't drain her, it expanded her. You walk that same path. When you stay open, you don't run out, you overflow. Still, skeptics will come. Some will say abundance is a myth, a mindset trick, or a delusion. But you know better. You've experienced it too intimately to doubt it now. You've had too many moments when the impossible became inevitable. Too many signs that weren't coincidence. And even when you've walked through lack, it was never without a lesson. Even in dry seasons, your soul stayed hydrated. Isaiah 58:11 captures this mystery. The Lord will guide you always. He will satisfy your needs in a sun-scorched land and will strengthen your frame. You will be like a well-watered garden, like a spring whose waters never fail. That is your reality. You flourish even in deserts. You bloom in unlikely places. Let's not forget Tyler Mitchell, the photographer who became the first black artist to shoot a Vogue cover. He was young, relatively unknown, but aligned. He created with vision, with truth, and with joy. And the doors flung open. That's what happens when you're walking in purpose. Opportunities chase you. You don't have to prove yourself. Your energy speaks louder than any resume. And here's the best part. You're not hoarding this energy. You're circulating it. Abundance is no longer a possession for you. It's a current. You're a conduit for goodness. It flows to you and through you. You become someone who multiplies blessings simply by being present. So I ask again, what would happen if you stopped questioning whether you're worthy of what's coming? What if you fully owned the truth that you were designed to live in overflow, not as a reward, but as a reflection of who you really are? You see, chosen one, abundance is not perfection. It's not a problem-free life. It's walking with God in such harmony that even problems turn into portals. Even pain births purpose. You don't need everything to go right. You just need to stay right with your heart, your intention, your trust. Every time you say yes to gratitude instead of grumbling, the floodgates open a little wider. Every time you forgive, release, bless, uplift, you clear another channel for God to move. You're no longer chasing abundance. You are abundance in motion. People may never understand your glow, your peace, your ever-expanding life. Let them wonder. Let them watch. The real secret isn't something you can explain. It's something they have to experience for themselves. And when they're ready, your life will be the invitation. Keep walking in faith. Keep sowing good. Keep dancing with the divine. The floodgates aren't just open, they're flowing, and the best is yet to come. Chapter 7. Harmonizing with the Rhythm of Time. Chosen one, have you ever noticed how time seems to soften around you, as if it recognizes the reverence with which you carry your years? While others frantically try to stop the clock, counting wrinkles, hiding birthdays, clinging to fading versions of youth, you have chosen something entirely different. You've chosen to flow. You no longer live in resistance. Instead, you welcome each season, each line on your face, each shift in your rhythm as proof of a life fully engaged with spirit. Time is no longer your adversary. It has become your sacred partner. And in doing so, you've stepped into a realm where aging is no longer about decline. It is about deepening. Ecclesiastes 3:11 declares, "He has made everything beautiful in its time." That includes every inch of your journey. You have learned to celebrate what others fear. You have embraced years not as burdens, but as blessings. How many people around you are startled by how free you've become, not in spite of time, but because of your harmony with it? What allowed you to finally release the panic? Was it the realization that no amount of resistance could slow the pace of your becoming? Was it the recognition that each season brings its own wisdom? That the version of you in this very moment is the most spiritually equipped you've ever been? Your glow doesn't come from clinging to youth. It comes from the peace you've cultivated over time. While others dread what they cannot control, you move with grace, unhurried and unshaken. People may wonder why you don't age like they expect, but they miss the real miracle that your soul refuses to wrinkle. Isaiah 40:31 offers a truth you've tasted firsthand. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. You've soared, not by resisting gravity, but by releasing fear. The strength that others chase through surface routines, you've found in spiritual rhythm. What would it look like if society honored growth the way it idolizes youth? What would change if people saw aging not as something to hide, but as something to honor? Your life challenges these assumptions daily. Just by the way you show up. You are radiant, rooted, timeless. Helen Mirren serves as a striking example. Her presence has only deepened with age. She doesn't deny time, she owns it. With elegance and authenticity, she's defied narrow definitions of beauty and aging. She doesn't ask for permission to be herself, and neither do you. Your very essence invites others to reconsider what it means to be fully alive. While some spend their days dreading change, you spend yours asking what the moment has to teach. You've stopped rushing, you've slowed down, not because you've given up, but because you've finally tuned in. There's a divine wisdom that can only be accessed in stillness, and you've made your heart available to it. What if that pause in your pace is actually your power? What if the way you respond with calm, rather than react in fear, is exactly what sets you apart? The world expects frenzy with age, but you've chosen fluidity. The world expects loss, but you've found layers of richness. Psalm 92:14 affirms what people sense but can't quite name. They will still bear fruit in old age. They will stay fresh and green. You're still blooming, not just on the surface, but from the inside out. Your freshness is not cosmetic. It's cultivated through soul work. Morgan Freeman's journey reflects a similar truth. He didn't peak in youth. His greatest roles, impact, and wisdom all unfolded as he matured. His presence today carries authority, grace, and patience. People don't listen to him because he shouts. They listen because he's become an embodiment of time well lived. How many people have looked at you and felt that same pull? They can't place it. They call it elegance, serenity, energy, but it's more than that. It's sacred alignment. You have come to respect each moment as a gift, and that reverence radiates from your every gesture. When others speak with frustration about getting older, you speak of it with reverence. Your voice doesn't carry fear. It carries curiosity. How much more can I learn this year? What new facet of myself will unfold? These questions guide your journey, not the tick of a clock. Proverbs 16:31 reminds us, "Grey hair is a crown of glory. It is gained in a righteous life." The glow others see in you is not despite the years, it's because of them. You've grown in love, in resilience, in clarity. Time hasn't taken anything from you. It has revealed who you truly are. Diane Keaton too embodies this sacred transformation. She has never hidden her eccentricity or softened her edges. Instead, she's allowed her years to amplify her authenticity. She wears time like a beautiful layered garment, and so do you. You're not trying to return to the past. You are walking confidently into every unfolding chapter. What stories would your smile tell if it could speak of the decades it has survived? What prayers have your hands carried into the future? How many versions of yourself have been born and buried, all in the name of truth? You are no longer moved by superficial definitions of beauty. You've seen too clearly what radiance really is. It's in kindness offered during grief, in grace extended in misunderstanding, in patience learned the hard way. That is your glow, that is your secret, and your angels see every bit of it. They celebrate your courage to walk with time rather than run from it. Every moment you bless instead of curse the passage of life, your frequency rises. More blessings find you. More wisdom flows to you. You've stopped rushing to arrive, because now you are the arrival. You no longer chase, you magnetize. You no longer panic, you pray. You no longer cling, you trust. How different would the world be if more people lived this way, if they trusted that each year doesn't bring them further from joy, but deeper into it? You are a living example that it's possible, and just by being you, others begin to believe they can do the same. You've become the proof that the soul doesn't age like the body, that there's a light untouched by years, and you've learned how to protect it, feed it, let it grow. That light, chosen one, is what people truly see when they look at you. They think it's skincare, or diet, or genes, but it's grace, it's alignment, it's harmony with time. What happens when someone stops fearing the future? They begin to live, and that is what you do. Fully, courageously, beautifully. You've stopped battling the clock and started trusting the Creator. You've stopped counting what's been lost and started treasuring what's being gained. Your life is no longer a race. It's a rhythm, a sacred unfolding, a divine conversation between you and the one who designed every season of your journey. So, as others chase youth, you choose depth. As others cover their age, you uncover your light. And in doing so, you redefine what it means to grow older, not only for yourself, but for generations watching. Time for you has become not a countdown, but a symphony. And your soul, it's dancing freely to every note. My friends, your face and spirit reveal someone who has loved, lost, learned, and loved again, never losing sight of life's sacred nature. In this alignment, your glow intensifies. You exemplify what it means to age gracefully in a world that forgets the beauty of the process. You are not just aging, you are ascending. And your presence whispers truth into a world that desperately needs to remember. Time is not a thief, it is a giver. And you, chosen one, are living proof of that divine exchange. You've shown us that when life is approached with reverence, when each moment is honored, and when your soul walks in step with God, beauty doesn't fade, it flourishes. Wisdom doesn't weigh you down, it lifts you. And grace doesn't diminish with years, it expands. Your journey blesses us all. Thank you so much for walking with me through this sacred message. Whether you've watched one chapter or followed through each word, your presence here is deeply appreciated. If you feel moved to support this work and want to help me continue creating messages like these, you can do so through Super Thanks, a way to donate directly and help sustain the light we're building together. But whether you choose to donate or not, please know this. You are seen, you are valued, and I am grateful for you, simply for being here. May God bless you richly, in your body, in your mind, and in your spirit. May your days be filled with meaning, your nights with peace, and your future with favor that overflows. And may your glow, the one time cannot touch, continue to inspire everyone blessed enough to stand in your presence. Stay radiant, stay rooted, and stay chosen.